Part 30. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuletin Chigwa. Chapter 292. This moment. The whole place was dead silent. Everyone looked at the scene blankly. Both the Blood Sea Ghost King and all the members of the law enforcement team seemed to have forgotten to breathe. I just felt a sense of suffocation coming over me. The silver-armored Ghost King, an abyss-level ghost, was dismembered by a human. No resistance. The calmness and indifference on the human face gave people the feeling of stepping on an ant to death. The ghosts were horrified. The ghosts are noisy. The originally silent scene suddenly became boiling. Is this the captain? No, that can't be true. The captain is an abyss-level ghost. How can a human be his opponent? Captain, don't scare us. Today is not April Fool's Day. Stop acting like a corpse. It's cold underground. Get up. The ghosts were terrified, shouting the name of the silver-armored Ghost King. However, at this moment, the silver-armored Ghost King had long since lost his supernatural powers and was in a state of complete despair. Where else can I respond to anyone else? Shen Jian squatted down, picked up a drop of blood. A trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Under the sunlight, this drop of blood exudes a unique color, and the supernatural fluctuations are extremely rich. This is a drop of blood from ghosts and gods. This is the blood of ghosts and gods, sir. The Blood Sea Ghost King took a step forward and swallowed. He has met Shen Jian. The city lord's wife once told him to obey this human's instructions in everything. But the specific reason was not stated. But he knows now. This person is the biggest backer behind Madame and the reason why Madame dares to implement this plan. Think of this. The Blood Sea Ghost King couldn't help showing a hint of fear. Too brutal. If the abyss-level ghost said dismemberment, it would be dismembered. If it weren't for the effect of the blood of ghosts and gods, the silver-armored Ghost King would have died as early as the first attack. Shen Jian glanced at the other party. Nod slightly. The rest is up to you. I believe Madame has told you what to do. Return to the city lord's mansion. Done. The city lord's wife pursed her lips. Although she was calm on the surface, her heart was already turbulent. After solving the silver-armored Ghost King, we can recruit the law enforcement team. The power in her hands will surpass that of the deputy city lord. Give her some time to digest this harvest, and the deputy city lord will no longer be able to compete with her. She was already very close to taking the position of city lord. Certainly. Shen Jian nodded. Tell me about the deputy city lord. Once the silver-armored Ghost King dies, he may soon notice that something is wrong. If we take any action in advance, we can prepare early. Shen Jian said seriously. But in fact, he was just afraid that the deputy city lord would run away. Right now, the only thing missing from unlocking the 14th level of hell is a deputy city lord. If he were to let him go, he would get up and slap himself in the face at night. He has a great background. The city lord's wife pondered, do you know the Lu family? Shen Jian was slightly startled. How could he not know? Niuli Ghost King is the son-in-law of the Lu family. The 100-eyed Ghost King, who was slapped away by the silver-armored Ghost King in the battle at the Supernatural Amusement Park, is also one of the guests of the Lu family. And his interaction with the Lu family goes far beyond that. Niuli Ghost King's wife is the legitimate daughter of the Lu family. This ghost lady once told him about the flesh-seeing ghost after a tender encounter with him. Besides, the ghost painting he placed in the bedroom of Villa No. 001 in the real world also went to the horror world to warn the Lu family not to attack him because of his words. Now that he thinks about it, he has a close relationship with the Lu family. What? This deputy city lord also belongs to the Lu family? Shen Jian asked. Well, he is the younger brother of the head of the Lu family, and this Lu family is the super-large supernatural place of the previous city lord of Nanjiang district. It was a top ghost king who stood at the pinnacle of the horror world. As this old city lord his younger brother, one can imagine his identity. Hear this. Shen Jian only felt his heartbeat speeding up. My breathing became a little faster. The top ghost king, that is, the ghost in the third stage of Ghost King, is called the unsolvable ghost. Unsolvable level ghosts, from the literal meaning, it can be known that the supernatural powers possessed by such ghosts have been transformed, and all the supernatural beings born have no solutions. In addition to relying on supernatural powers of the same level to fight, any evil ghost will be destroyed in front of them. Instant kill. Just like ordinary people will be killed instantly because they trigger Li Gui's killing pattern. The relationship between unsolvable level ghosts and ghosts is the same as the relationship between ghosts and humans. He has never caught a ghost of this level so far. I don't even know where such a level of evil ghost exists. But now he knew a place. Lu family. Where is the Lu family? Shen Jian's tone was a little excited. City Lord's wife? How did she feel that this human being was not scared or solemn after hearing this, but was excited? Hearing that there is a top ghost king in the Lu family, this human being is actually excited? She gave Shen Jian a strange look. Their supernatural place is located in the ghost realm. It is hidden and cannot be found by ordinary people, but I think the deputy city lord should know. I guess so. Shen Jian smiled. Unexpectedly, a visit to the city lord's mansion not only unlocked the qualification to seize the authority of the Nanjiang district manager, but also found clues to a super-large supernatural place. I also learned that the Lu family has a top ghost king. This news was too tempting for Shen Jian. Think about it. He turned and left here. I plan to squat this deputy city lord. As long as he dares to leave the city lord's mansion, the outcome is doomed. While thinking, Shen Jian glanced at the city lord's wife without leaving any trace, turned around and left without making any further requests. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Bulletin Chi Gua. Chapter 293. Time flies. While the city lord's wife was in torment, the deputy city lord on the other side also felt that a disaster was coming. First, the third team of law enforcers was destroyed during an exploration mission. Then the leader of the first team of law enforcers, the silver-armored Ghost King, died. Even the four great heroes of the city lord's mansion and the Ghost Kings from all directions have come forward to publicly support MRSP. This suddenly expanded MRSP's power. He soon passed him and took away his control over the law enforcement team. All this heavy stuff enveloped him like a huge sumi net. He suddenly felt a sense of crisis. He had a gut feeling that all of this was coming for him. MRSP is gradually cutting off his party members. Once he becomes a loner, he will be the next one to be dealt with. Then he made a decision. Find reinforcements. As the younger brother of the old city lord of Nanjiang district, his status in the Lu family is extremely high. It is not difficult to find an abyss-level ghost to break the situation. This method has not been used in the past, but he felt it was not needed. If necessary, he wouldn't mind using the power of the Lu family. Just thinking about it, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. Black hair, black eyes, hanging from a ghost rope on his wrist, walking towards him with a strange smile on his face. It was Shen Jian. I've been squatting on you for 3 days, and you've finally come out. As Shen Jian spoke, his eyes kept flashing. The aura of this deputy city lord is extremely close to the abyss level, 1 point stronger than the silver-armored Ghost King before he was promoted. According to Shen Jian's estimation, the yin qi has reached at least 29,000. He is only one step away from the 30,000 yin chi of an abyss-level ghost. Apart from Nanjiang City Lord, he is the most terrifying ghost king in the City Lord's mansion. Catching one of them is as good as catching 3 or 4 Nyulai ghost kings. And this deputy City Lord is not just a ghost king. He is also the stepping stone for him to pry open the Lu family and destroy this super-large supernatural place. The deputy City Lord frowned with a grimace. The exquisite appearance in suits and leather shoes could not dispel his surprise at this time. Looking at the human being in front of me, I felt an ominous premonition in my heart. My mind was like a thunderbolt, and I suddenly figured out something. You took care of the silver-armored Ghost King. He roared. The whole grimace was distorted. The terrifying yin chi surged out, making him look like the most ferocious ghost in the world. GGG, it seems you are not stupid. Shen Jian smiled a bit strangely. He took out the morning stick from his body. Damn you, human being. Do you think you can deal with me by killing the silver-armored Ghost King? What benefits did that woman give you? I can give you double that. The deputy city lord smiled sinisterly and began to confuse people. He is not afraid of Shen Jian. Because he is far stronger than the silver-armored Ghost King. Shen Jian's eyes were strange and he said, she dedicated herself to me. If you want to give me double, then you have to give me your sister-in-law. I never thought you, a thick-browed and big-eyed person, would have such bad intentions. Deputy City Lord? He was in a daze. I was stunned for a moment. What does it mean to dedicate oneself to this human being? Could it be? Think of this. The Deputy City Lord's eyes were filled with horror. God gave himself so much. He thought it was a ritual like a sacrifice. But combined with the second half of this human being's sentence, at best it sounds like sacrificing oneself, but at worst it sounds like it's cheating, isn't it? That woman who always opposed him and wanted to bring him down had cheated on her? Or cheating on a human being? Think of this. The deputy city lord made a grimace and became excited. He smiled sinisterly, okay, great, I don't even have to look for reinforcements. I just need to take you to the city lord and expose this matter. No matter what that woman took away from me, I have to pay it back return. Human, this is all thanks to you. Now, you should pay the price for your arrogance. Don't worry, I won't kill you. I will only break your limbs so that you can no longer run away. Really? Just as he was talking, Shen Jian had already raised the morning stick and rushed over. The deputy city lord couldn't bear to show weakness and stepped forward to greet him. 3 seconds later, the deputy city lord, who was originally smiling sinisterly, froze when he saw a large dent in his head. Damn it! This human seems a bit strong. He only took one blow and his head was split open. Never mind. A good ghost will not suffer the immediate consequences. It doesn't matter if he can't catch this human being. Anyway, he only needs to report the matter to the city lord, who will take action himself. Think of this. He didn't hesitate, turned around and ran away. Shen Jian. He laughed angrily. It's easy enough to get discouraged. But for the prey he is interested in, it is undoubtedly a foolish dream to escape. Shen Jian's feet collapsed heavily and his body swept out. The speed is extremely terrifying. Deputy City Lord. I know. You are superhuman. Run so fast. He was a little panicked. This time it was a tough time. If one of them is not good, he will be left behind. Then the deputy city leader began to surrender. Human, stop chasing me. What I just said was all in my sleep. If you let me go, I promise not to leak your secrets, and I will never set foot in Nanjiang district again. Human, give me a way to survive. The deputy city lord yelled as he ran away. Shen Jian ignored it. While chasing after me, The corner of my mouth curled up. You misunderstood, you haven't realized my good intentions for you. The ancients often said that when heaven is about to entrust a person with a great responsibility, he must first injure his skin, cut off his limbs, knock his dog's head, and destroy his supernatural powers. Therefore, if you are tempted to endure, you will benefit from what you can't do. It seems like I am beating you. In fact, I am training you. Didn't you realize that your speed has surpassed that of ordinary ghost kings, reaching a point where even abyss-level ghosts can't catch up? Shen Jianja laughed strangely. There was no trace of malice on his face. Deputy City Lord. He couldn't stand it anymore. Is there anyone as shameless as you in this world? Gods hurt their skin, cut off their limbs, and knock their heads. Although I am a ghost, I sometimes enrich myself and understand a lot of human culture. And why can I burst out at a speed that even the abyss-level ghosts can't match? Don't you have a strong mentality when it comes to riding a horse? If you were being chased by a Tyrannosaurus Rex that was more than 10 meters tall, you would still be able to reach a speed that exceeded the world record. This human is such a humming dog. He ran faster. It was as if some savage beast was following behind. But only for a moment. Shen Jian had already caught up. Shouting, "You ran in the wrong direction. Now turn around and run in the direction of Lu's house. You can run another 300 meters. The deputy city lord turned a deaf ear to Shen Jian's trash talk. All he wanted to do was escape to the city lord's residence and ask for help. Old Zi Shu Daoshan, if you don't change direction, I won't be able to save you. Shen Jian threatened for the last time. Seeing that the deputy city lord is still going his own way, Shen Jian struck him with a stick. Ah! The deputy city lord fell to the ground. He let out a painful cry. Shen Jian's eyes were fierce and he said, "I told you to run in the direction of the Lu family. What the hell are you running for?" Said. The morning stick fell again and again. Ah! The screams one after another were accompanied by the sound of falling sticks, which sounded rhythmically. 10 minutes later, Shen Jian stopped beating him and hit the deputy city lord's face with a morning stick, with a dangerous look in his eyes. "Be honest, tell me now, where is the position of your Lu family?" The deputy city lord shivered and took out an ancient token. "Want to cry but no tears. If you want a token, tell me earlier. If you had said from the beginning that you wanted to go to the Lu family, I would have loved to take you there myself. This is the artifact that opens the Lu family's ghost realm. As long as you hold the artifact and go to the corresponding place, you can enter the Lu family." Shen Jian's expression changed. "Take the token." Satisfied. "Very good. A super large supernatural place is obtained. Brother, please let me go now. I'm no longer of use to you," the deputy city lord said with a trembling voice. "It's really painful for this dog human to fight ghosts. The pain that penetrates into the heart." He almost thought he was back in the embrace of ghosts and gods. "Who said you are useless? You underestimate yourself too much. You have to go to the 18th level of hell to serve your sentence and become my free labor force. I won't allow you to underestimate yourself so much." Shen Jian looked strange. Comforted. "Deputy City Lord? Grass. I'm already like this, and you still want me to be tortured? You deserve to be damned." The deputy city lord was about to shout this when he saw the white bone stick knocking up again. Skillfully stuffed the deputy city lord into a sack. The smile on Shen Jian's face became even brighter. The conditions for unlocking the 14th level of hell have finally been gathered together. Time flows. This round of game has ended. This round of lineup confrontation mission, the only winner, King Yama. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuletin Chigwa. Chapter 294. Chapter 293 Meeting, God. This round of game has ended. Congratulations to the player for clearing the copy of Nanjiang City Lord's Mansion. The copy is being settled. Rating, S. Experience gained, 500%. Note, you have been promoted to level 42. Note, 4-star dungeons have been opened for players. Items obtained, Thriller Coin * 5000. Obtain a special reward, the position of Deputy City Lord of Nanjiang City Lord's Mansion. Note, due to the player's outstanding performance, the City Lord's wife strongly recommends the player to take the position of Deputy City Lord. You have obtained some permissions from the Nanjiang City Lord's Mansion, please explore on your own. Receive special reward, Nanjiang City Lord's attention. Note, led by the City Lord's wife, the Ghost King from all directions, and all members of the law enforcement team recognized the player's abilities. You have gained the attention of the City Lord of Nanjiang and believe that you can assist his wife in the competition to become the next administrator of Nanjiang District. Player King of Yama. The authority in the City Lord's Mansion has been increased. Get special rewards, the victor of the attack. Note, the player takes first place in the lineup confrontation mission and unlocks the hidden achievement, Victory of the Attack. Clear 3 lineup confrontation missions with the evaluation of the sole winner, and you can become a dependent of the attacking ghosts and gods. Current progress, 1/3. Real world. Shenjian opened his eyes. Look at the notes above. His face became strange. He found that the City Lord's wife did know how to play. In front of her husband, she kept saying good things about him, the adulterer, and even got him to the position of Deputy City Lord. What is the difference between this and openly bringing an adulterer home in front of her husband? Quite good at playing. The smile on Shenjian's face remained. His eyes turned to the last special reward. After clearing 3 lineup confrontation missions and getting the evaluation of the only winner, you can unlock hidden achievements and become a dependent of a ghost and god. Shenjian was thoughtful. The only winner. This hidden achievement is very difficult to unlock. This time, he personally worked on the copy of Nanjiang City Lord's Mansion and helped the City Lord's wife win the position of City Lord without the help of any players. And he also learned that among the 10 players who participated in the dungeon this time, the 5 who were still alive all chose the Deputy City Lord camp, and he was the only one who chose the City Lord's wife camp. The only winner is to lead the camp to victory or complete a phased goal when there is only one person left in the same lineup. It is difficult to unlock this hidden achievement. And it's not easy to encounter another lineup confrontation mission. It can only be temporarily stranded. But this is the Lu family. Can be arranged in advance. Shenjian took out an ancient token from his body. This is the key to entering the Lu family's ghost realm. With it, you can move freely into the super-large supernatural place where the Lu family is located. The Lu family is located in the center of Nanjiang District and Donglan District. Finished sorting out the key points of this copy. Shenjian entered the underworld. Yinsi. The 14th level of Hell, unlocked. The 15th level of Hell, can be unlocked. Unlocking conditions, 50 Ghost Kings. Looking at the conditions for unlocking the 15th level of Hell, Shenjian fell into deep thought. Although he already knew the result, the moment he saw 50 Ghost Kings, he couldn't help but frown. Ordinary 4-star dungeons with 1 or 2 Ghost Kings are already high difficulty dungeons. It is rare to have 10 Ghost Kings like Nanjiang City Lord's Mansion. According to normal progress, if he wants to unlock the 15th level of Hell, obtain system rewards again, and allow the underworld to recreate the 5th Yama Hall, he may have to go through more than 24-star dungeons. The more convenient and quick way is to catch the abyss level or above evil ghosts. A fierce ghost of this level can defeat 3 or 4 Ghost Kings. If replaced by the unsolvable Ghost King, the number can be reduced to 5 or 6. In other words, he only needs to catch 5 or 6 top ghost kings to unlock the 15th level of hell. But the problem is equally obvious. Where is he going to catch 5 or 6 top ghost kings? But for now, he also has a way of taking shortcuts. That's a ghost town. According to the information he has, the ghost city is full of evil ghosts, and their terror level will not be lower than the red-clothed level, and the weakest will not be weaker than half-step red-clothed. I really walked around in red. There are as many ghost kings as dogs. Of course, rumors are just rumors after all. But even if the ghost king is not as numerous as a dog, he can still unlock the 15th level of hell in the ghost city. Shen Jian calculated the time. There are still about 10 days until the ghost town opens. It is already considered imminent. He doesn't plan to go out. Take advantage of these 10 days to concentrate on dealing with the expansion problem of Qingxi. Completely lighting up the achievement of allowing the Chenghuang Temple to control the entire Qingxi. And then began the expansion plan of the underworld. Time passes little by little. The next day, outside the Chenghuang Temple, 34-year-old Yu Yun was smoking a cigarette and chatting with a beautiful girl in a milk tea shop outside the Chenghuang Temple. It made the beauty giggle. However, his eyes were always paying attention to the situation in the city god temple. He is the ghostly envoy of the fallen angels organization. They came to investigate the fact that the 3 great envoys attacked the Daxia Longke branch in Qing City and then wiped out the entire army. The final investigation focused on this inconspicuous city god temple. According to what he learned from several Daxia Dragon Bird members, a god appeared in Qingxi that night, and he was the city god of the underworld, and the destruction of the 3 major divine envoys of the fallen angel organization was caused by the underworld. Yu Yun smoked a cigarette and tried to calm himself down. The underworld reappears. 100 ghosts walk at night. The city god appears. Cast the eyes of the gods. If someone else told him such ridiculous information, he would never believe it. However, this information was obtained by him personally. There is no possibility of fraud. In other words, the death of the 3 great envoys of the fallen angel organization has something to do with the underworld. He reported this information back. On the phone, a hoarse voice rang, "Go and meet the city god." Yu Yun's expression changed drastically. "Are you kidding? Boss, are you asking me to die?" According to the intelligence, the city god doesn't have a good impression of us. Don't worry, there is still the last paper man's body inside the organization. I know you have been coveting it for a long time. You only need to place part of your consciousness on the supernatural object and return it to the organization. Even if something happens, you can use the paper man's body to revive again. You consider it? Yu Yun fell silent. After thinking for a moment, he agreed. Afternoon school time. Kikai, who was only 7 years old, was walking back to the city god's temple with her skull bag on her back. Although she is only 7 years old, after experiencing the massacre of her village, the murder of her family, and seeing another side of the world, she seems out of place with a normal 7-year-old child. Seems overly mature. Children, you are a family member of the staff at the city god's temple. Can you take your uncle in? My uncle missed the time to worship the city god, and the staff has refused to let him in. Yu Yun blocked Kikai's path and said with a smile. There are no staff in the Chenghuang temple. Everything depends on consciousness. However, in his observation, the little girl in front of him went in and out of the Chenghuang temple every day and stayed there all night. It wasn't until the next day that I went to school with my skull bag on my back. He also asked someone to inquire about the city god's temple, and found that there was no place to rest or sleep. In summary, this little girl is absolutely inseparable from the city god. If he wanted to enter the legendary city god's palace, he needed someone to guide him. Who are you? Do you want to kidnap me? Kikai's childlike face showed a bit of coldness. Uncle, you'd better not do this, otherwise you will regret it. Yu Yun smiled on the surface, but he was actually a little nervous inside. No matter what relationship this little girl has with the city god, she is definitely not an ordinary person who can have a relationship with the city god of the underworld. But thinking that he still had a way to save his life, he gradually became more courageous. Kid, we just want to see the city god, but we have no way and no trace, so we have to find you. Yu Yun took a step forward and explained his choice with practical actions. If the little girl in front of him resists, he doesn't mind using force. Kikai was about to take out the seal of the city god, when her petite face suddenly froze, as if she had received some instruction, and she smiled. Uncle, are you going to see God? I can take you there. The word God comes out. Yu Yun suddenly became tense all over. In this world where there are no immortals and no Buddhas, only supernatural resurrections, a city god from the underworld suddenly appears. Isn't that a god? Or the legendary yin god? He subconsciously became wary of the little girl's sudden change of attitude, but he remembered that his original purpose was to find the city god and find out what was going on. He immediately said, "Then I'll trouble you, kid." Soon, Kikai walked into the city god's temple. Yu Yun followed. His eyes were a little wary. He watched with his own eyes as the little girl in front of him took out a delicate jade seal, and a black hole suddenly appeared in the city god's temple. Yu Yun swallowed his saliva. This is the entrance to the city god's hall. As long as he steps here, he can truly see the scenery of the underworld. He was so nervous that his palms were sweating. As the envoy of the Fallen Angel organization, he is also a 4-star player, but even when entering a 4-star dungeon, he has never been as nervous as he is today. It was the thrill of being about to see God. How many people have had such an honor throughout the ages? Enter the city god's hall. A strong yin energy swept over him. Yu Yun walked as if on thin ice. The ghost jigsaw in his body was afraid, and for the first time it conveyed an emotion called thriller to him. This fear also transferred to him. Let his eyes continue to scan the surrounding environment. There are many halls, guarding the main hall of the city god in the middle. He knows. That is where the city god is. He hesitated for a moment. He stepped in anyway. In the main hall, a handsome young man, who looked to be in his mid-20s, was sitting in the position of the city god, holding a booklet in his hand. It is vaguely visible that there is evil written on the booklet. Until Yu Yun stepped into the palace. Only then did Shen Jian put aside his bad intentions. He looked up at the other person. This glance. Yu Yun's breath was suffocated. This moment. He felt as if he was raising his head high and looking up into the sky. Above the sky, there was a pair of indifferent eyes looking down at him. This illusion made his already rapid breathing become chaotic, as if it had been seriously disturbed and became extremely unsmooth. That is God. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Bulletin Chi Gua. Chapter 295. See God. See Yin Shen. Meet the legendary city god of the underworld. It sounds like it's an honor. In this world where there are no immortals, no Buddhas, no gods, and no demons, only horror game invasions, strange resurgences, and mysterious arrivals, witness a legendary underworld god. This is a blessing that many people dream of. But at this moment, Yu Yun felt his breath was suffocated. The moment city god looked up at him, he felt his body become heavy and groggy, as if there was a big mountain pressing on him. Even thinking has become a little stiff. A sentence suddenly flashed in his mind: how can a mortal look directly at God? Just then, the ghost teacher on the side shouted coldly, his voice like a loud bell and like thunder piercing his ears. Be bold, since you have seen the true God, Why not worship him? Next moment, cold sweat broke out on Yu Yun's forehead. He immediately knelt down and worshipped. All fours were lying on the ground. What he used was the ancient ritual of worshipping immortals and gods. At this time, he had already forgotten that he came here with the determination to die. He was frightened and stunned under the direct gaze of Shen Jian's pair of divine eyes overlooking the world. I did it subconsciously. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. How can a mortal not even kneel down and worship the most basic thing when he sees God? Until Shen Jian, who was sitting on the seat of the city god, said, I heard that you want to find me? What's the matter? When the sound sounded, Yu Yun suddenly stirred, regained his mind and regained control of his body. At this moment, he was terrified inside, and sweat was pouring from his back. He regretted it. I regret taking this mission and coming to the city god's temple to test the authenticity of the city god. I regret even more that I stopped the little girl and planned to force her to lead the way. But at this moment, there is no use regretting anymore. Yu Yun took a deep breath, regained some composure, and quickly introduced himself, Lord City God, I am Yu Yun. I have admired you for a long time, City God. The words have not yet fallen. Shen Jian interrupted, what do you want from me? Yu Yun's face showed a bit of paleness. As one of the angels of the Fallen Angel organization, he is also a well-known 4-star player in the supernatural circle. He has never felt panicked because of someone else's words. But this moment, he was really scared. The city god in front of him had a calm expression, flat eyes, and no anger in his tone, but the words he spoke made his hands and feet feel cold. The signal released is already obvious. He glanced at the little girl who was playing with an old yellow dog next to the city god without leaving any trace, and his eyes became darker. But he still managed to hold on and said, Lord City God, I am the ghostly envoy of the Fallen Angel organization. We are deeply sorry for the behavior of the 3 great envoys of killing, poison, and blood and tears that broke into your territory, and are willing to make compensation. We the Fallen Angel organization has absolutely no intention of being an enemy of the city god. Furthermore, our boss has said that the Fallen Angel organization has a very huge influence in this world. Its sphere of influence is scattered across the country, and there are countless senior executives who can be used by us. As long as you give the order, Lord City God, we can build countless city god temples for you all over the world, and let all people respect you and believe in you. This is the sincerity of our Fallen Angel organization. Hear this. Shen Jian's eyes moved. The boss mentioned by Yu Yun should refer to the leader of the Fallen Angels organization. And the other party's sincerity is indeed sufficient. Build city god temples all over the world for all people to worship and believe in. The temptation is great. You know, there are billions of people in the country. If 1% of them can believe in one person, and then use incense to achieve enlightenment, then an incense god can be recreated in the real world. Unfortunately, there is no way to achieve enlightenment through incense in the world. The conditions are very attractive. Shen Jian spoke. Hearing this, Yu Yun's face showed joy. But the next moment, his face froze. But I refuse. Tell me the headquarters of your Fallen Angel organization, and I can forgive your crimes and reduce your pain when you are tortured in hell. Yu Yun. Hear this. He looked up suddenly. I happened to see Shen Jian's deep eyes and the malice hidden in his words. Grass. He knew the trip was dangerous. But I didn't expect that the evil intentions of the city god would be so obvious. Why is that? The Fallen Angels organization only invaded the territory of the underworld once despite all their efforts. It did not cause any substantial casualties. Instead, it lost 3 major envoys and more than 500 members. Speaking of malice, it should be because they are full of malice. However, the reality is that they want to resolve their conflicts, but the city god wants to kill them all. The thought of this. Yu Yun couldn't sit still. My whole body trembled, and I felt a chill rushing into my heart. With the city god and the malicious intent of a living god, is there any hope for the fallen angels organization to survive? Escape. Must escape from this place. Otherwise he will die. Yu Yun's inner alarm bells rang, and without even thinking, a black shadow suddenly appeared behind him. The black shadow was like a quagmire, sinking his figure, and he quickly escaped into the shadows. Swim towards the ghost outside. This is the ghost puzzle he became famous for, Ghost Shadow. With the help of the ghost's supernatural power, he can move without any obstacles, and he can also hide his body and let himself wander on any building. Ghostly shadows flicker. Soon he took his body to the cave entrance in front of the city god's hall. Then, escape from the outside world. In the main hall of the city god, Shen Jian's face showed a bit of sarcasm. He opened the book in front of him. There are words looming on the originally blank paper. Then it gradually became clear. That's a person's name. Yu Yun. On the surface, line by line about Yu Yun's life experience emerges. 3 full sheets of paper were recorded. In summary, the advent of the horror game amplified the evil in his heart, and he was invited to join the Fallen Angels organization, becoming one of the angels of God, and began a life of sin. River God. Shen Jian withdrew his gaze and opened his mouth. The sound swayed faintly. A road to hell emerged. The river goddess stepped out from hell. Owner. After several times of training, the river goddess was now able to call out the word master without any burden. The degree of obedience to him has also reached the level of knowing how to change the action as soon as the photo is taken. Since you came here, it seems that you haven't really gone out to visit this world 700 years from now. Go and have a look. By the way, help me find out where he will escape to in the end. If it is a private hiding place, then deal with him for me. Said. Shen Jian threw out a piece of paper. That is the paper on the life and death book. What was recorded on the paper was none other than Yu Yun. But you are not a sinner. Killing someone is detrimental to your moral character. Take this and take his life. Shen Jian's voice was calm. In terms of life and death, Yu Yun still has a full 36 years of life. If there is no accident, he will live to the age of 80 before dying. This was his destiny, God's will. But this fate is not irreversible. The simplest way is to tear his life out of the book of life and death. Tear off his destiny and he becomes a lifeless person. Not recorded in the life and death book. This was originally a life-extending method, used to hide the secrets of heaven, steal life from heaven, and survive in this world. But at the same time, it is also a desperate strategy. A lifeless person is not one of the 5 elements. Anyone can kill him without compromising his moral character. There are even merits. As the king of hell, he can easily interfere with such fate. Yes. The river goddess took the order. Outside the Chenghuang temple, Yu Yun escaped from the city god's palace and disappeared quickly. There was a look of ecstasy on his face. Escaped. He escaped. He escaped from a terrible god. He can brag about this for the rest of his life. In order to avoid fishing, he took a long detour. Until it is truly safe. He just returned to a villa. I couldn't wait to dial a number. Ghost. On the other end of the phone, a hoarse voice with a hint of surprise sounded. You made it? No, boss, I have important news. The city god is very malicious towards us and is not willing to accept our conditions at all. Instead, he wants to find out the whereabouts of the headquarters from me. I escaped while the city god was not paying attention. Come out. The leader of the Fallen Angels organization on the other end of the phone? You were just saying that the city god was looking for our whereabouts? And you escaped from the city god. Yu Yun said excitedly, That's right. Leader of the Fallen Angel Organization. Grass. Why didn't I realize before that this guy was a fool? Toot toot. No hesitation. The call was hung up. By the time Yu Yun replayed it, he had already been blacklisted. Yu Yun. How could he not know that this might be the other parties fishing for law enforcement? But he deliberately made a large circle and controlled the ghost shadow to patrol a large circle, basically eliminating the possibility of being followed. It couldn't be that the city god was following him personally. It's not that he underestimates himself, but it's really impossible. How could a majestic city god of the underworld stalk him alone? However, the boss's vigilance still made Yu Yun murmur. He decided to leave the stronghold immediately and stay away from Kingshi completely. But at this moment, a figure appeared in front of him. That's a fierce ghost. Wearing a bright red paper wedding dress, a stunning face without makeup was looking at him faintly. For a moment, there was a cold and gloomy sound. According to the master's order, I will take your lifespan of 36 years, 7 months, and 3 days. Yu Yun. His face suddenly turned pale. Take away his life? No, no, you can't. He screamed in horror. The ghostly figure on his body revived, but shrank back under the abyss-level terrifying supernatural threat of the river goddess, and the supernatural power was not revealed. No. Yu Yun was completely panicked. He saw a piece of paper fly out and then be set on fire in front of him. Faintly. He saw his life in that piece of paper. He also saw the 36 years of his life on paper disappearing little by little. At this moment, Yu Yun felt that his strength was disappearing. It's as if something has been lost somewhere. He knows what it is. That's his lifespan. His lifespan of 36 years. Life is taken away. His appearance began to look older little by little, his hair began to turn gray, wrinkles appeared, age spots appeared, his teeth fell out, and his voice became vicissitudes of life. And then, as the clock keeps counting down, the last breath is gone. He fell slowly. Like an old man whose rotten wood is about to wither, he died completely. Even supernatural powers could not save his life at the end of the road. The ghost puzzle in his body was completely in a state of panic. A divine envoy, a 4-star player, died here quietly. Cause of death, end of life. The river goddess took out the soul-enchanting chain. Arrest its ghost. It didn't take long to figure out something was wrong. This ghost has no consciousness of its own. No self-awareness. Inside the city god's hall, Shen Jian listened to the report from the river goddess. He looked startled. Then I seemed to sense something. There was a weird smile on his face. No one can escape fate if life or death is at stake. Yu Yun must die. Even if he has the means to save his life by transferring his consciousness, he still cannot escape the death certificate of life and death. And in his induction, Yu Yun's consciousness revived in one place. And died soon. That place seemed to be the headquarters of the Fallen Angel Organization. Shen Jian smiled. The smile is wild. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 296. An underground base. Yu Yun suddenly opened his eyes. I'm dead. He showed some palpitations and looked down at his current body. It was a paper figure. Blush is applied to the face, and the hollow facial features seem to be painted on, making it look very unreal. Dead indeed. At this time, a voice sounded in his ear. Yu Yun looked up. Several figures came over. All of them were wearing black robes and identical hearts masks on their faces. But he still recognized that the person who just spoke was the leader of their fallen angel organization, codenamed Haze Angel. The remaining 4 people are the remaining angels of the organization. The Fallen Angel organization has 12 angels, each of whom is a 4-star player in the horror game, possessing supernatural powers that rival the person in charge of a city. However, in the past few months, it has suffered a series of losses. 6 divine messengers have died one after another, and the murderer pointed to one person. The person in charge of Qing City. What was the last thing you saw? How did you die? The leader of the Fallen Angel organization said hoarsely. Even if you can't see his appearance, you can imagine from the hoarse and deep tone of the other party that the leader of the Fallen Angels is a middle-aged man with a sinister face and fierce eyes. I saw Yinza, a female ghost. She lit a piece of paper and took away all the remaining 36 years of my life, and then I died. Yu Yun still couldn't help but tremble at this time. The helplessness of watching his lifespan being taken away while he could only wait completely broke his will. He would never want to step into Qingxi again in his life. Hear this. The other angels also looked fearful. Taking away the lifespan of a living person, is this the horror of the underworld? This is something far more terrifying than the strange resurgence and the emergence of evil spirits. It is a great terror belonging to the underworld. Paper? What paper? The leader asked again. I can't see clearly, but I can vaguely see my life written on it, and at the bottom is my remaining lifespan, which is a full 36 years, 7 months, and 3 days. Yu Yun shook his head. It has lifespan written on it. Could it be the legendary Book of Life and Death? According to myths and legends, the great sage Kishan went down to the underworld, erased his name on the Book of Life and Death, jumped out of the 3 realms, and was no longer among the 5 elements. Wait a minute, how can a city god in this place be so weak in life and death? The gods make you speak to me. They were noisy, like hawkers in the market. Apparently. Under the name of hell, even the divine envoy cannot remain calm. If life and death are really bad, it means that you have been removed from this world and you are already a dead person, but the supernatural power has kept you alive. Do you feel anything is wrong? The leader asked. Except for being a little unaccustomed to the paper man's body, there is nothing abnormal. Moreover, I am already a paper man, and the lifespan limit of my physical body can no longer limit me. The only thing that can kill me is an accident. After a brief silence, Yu Yun readjusted. There was also a bit of a smile on his face. The paper man's body can break the traditional limit of life and death, and can also suppress the resurrection of his own ghost, which he has coveted for a long time. Now that he has achieved his wish, fear cannot cover up his excitement at this time. He stood up. Prepare to move your new body. But the next moment, his face suddenly froze. The familiar feeling of loss came over me again. He could clearly notice that his paper body was getting weaker and weaker, and his consciousness seemed to be stripped away. No, no, no. City God, spare my life. Yu Yun knelt on the ground, screaming in fear. The words fell. The body of the paper man began to age rapidly. The facial features that were obviously painted on it, but strangely showed traces of aging. The body also began to become thin, and finally turned into a wrinkled yellow paper in fear. The whole place was dead silent. All the angels stared blankly at this scene. Silence fell. The widened pupils showed their shock at this moment. Even the transfer of consciousness cannot escape the sanctions of life and death. The supernatural power is completely irresistible. And they were also targeted by the city god. This moment. Everyone panicked. Are you kidding? The paper man's body will age. It's over. If we are targeted by such a sinister god, won't we all be on the receiving end of life and death? I want to quit the organization. The underworld is too terrible. How can a mortal body compare to the gods? More than one person retreated. Every angel who saw the scene was frightened. Don't panic, city god can't kill people indiscriminately, and there must be restrictions on life and death. We are now several provinces away from Qingxi, and the base is still built underground. It is very safe. As long as we never set foot in Qingxi in the future, City God, I will not take the initiative to trouble us. The leader of the Fallen Angel organization reassured people. I see. Do you think I can't find you, so I'm confident? At this time, an unfamiliar voice sounded from the neutral underground base. Everyone's hearts were shocked. They all turned around and looked. I saw a young man sitting on the sofa openly and looking at them quietly. It was Shen Jian. It was as if he had been sitting there from the beginning, listening to the conversation. City God. With this exclamation sounded. All the divine envoys present looked shocked and incredulous. They couldn't stand it any longer. There was panic in his eyes. Talk about CAO arrives. They were talking about the city god just now, and the next second the city god arrived. How could this not make them tremble? City God, I don't know what the Fallen Angel organization has done to offend you, so that you want to kill them all, but we are not vegetarians, and you are not the only god in this world. After a brief moment of shock, the leader of the Fallen Angel organization said coldly. Messenger of the gods. I'm super, the boss dared to speak to the city god like this. Could it be that the Fallen Angel organization has some trump card that they don't know about that can pose a threat to a living god? This rekindled everyone's hope. He looked at the leader expectantly. Hear this. There was also some interest in Shen Jian's eyes. Watching each other's performance with great interest. I saw the leader of the Fallen Angel organization taking out a short blade on his body and holding it tightly in his hand. The gods were shocked. Bullshit. Does the boss want to compete with the city god? Just use a short knife for what? Shouldn't it be to use your strongest supernatural power to see if it can be effective on a god? City god, we have found a way to resurrect the ghosts and gods. When the ghosts and gods are resurrected, you, the true god, will also die in the hands of false gods, and this day is not far away. Finished. The leader of the Fallen Angel organization inserted the dagger directly into his heart. A supernatural explosion ended his life in an instant. The sound of the dagger falling to the ground was mixed with the sound of the body falling to the ground. The leader of the Fallen Angel organization just committed suicide. Messenger of the gods. Grass. Are you kidding us? It's cool for you to commit suicide, but it's a bit unkind for you to leave us alone. Damn it. The boss of their organization was the first to run away. They want to follow suit. But they had no life-saving tools. If they stabbed them in the heart, they would really die. Then they fell to their knees and trembled. City God, we have never attacked your territory. We hope you can let us go. We will definitely make things right. Shen Jian looked at the leader's body and his lips twitched. I thought I had some trump card. Dare to love is suicide. But this person is decisive enough. Otherwise, if he tears off the thin page of life and death, no matter how many life-saving means the other party has, it will be useless. And the resurrected ghosts and gods mentioned by the other party also aroused his interest. Think about it. Shen Jian still did not choose to pursue him. If this person can really resurrect a ghost and god, then he really has to thank the other person's whole family. Whatever your sin, you can find out by going to hell. Shen Jian waved his hand. Countless ghosts appeared. Begin to clean up the headquarters of the Fallen Angel organization. This is also the day. An exciting piece of news spread like wildfire. The Fallen Angel organization was destroyed. The entrance to the headquarters is wide open. But there is no defensive power. The crowd was excited. The news spread wider and wider. It is said that it was done by the underworld. Some people claim that they have seen the legendary Yinsha. There are also people who swear that they have seen Yin Cha Jai Hun. Paranormal forums are full of similar messages. Everyone is waiting. Waiting for the members of the fallen angel organization to show up. Can last for several days. There is not a single statement on the paranormal forum that seems to be a member of the fallen angel organization. The news is true. All 12 angels of the fallen angels organization have been destroyed. Daxialanke headquarters showed up to give his own explanation. Confirmed the authenticity of the news. It also detonated the supernatural circle once again. Countless horror game players, ghost masters, and related personnel were all excited. Awesome. I'm CIO, is it true or not, the underworld has really revived. Oh my god, the famous Fallen Angels organization has ended just like this? It was destroyed without even making a splash. What kind of power does this resurrected underworld have? Everyone found it unimaginable. You must know that the Fallen Angel organization was established almost at the same time as Daxialanke. It has an extremely huge foundation. Each divine envoy is equivalent to a city leader. Its sphere of influence radiates throughout the country. It has a very terrible influence. If unrest breaks out, more than a quarter of the country's cities will fall into chaos. However, such a huge and ferocious organization was destroyed silently. The crowd was in an uproar and the whole world was in an uproar. As the instigator, Shen Jian was also caught up in the wave of news. Waiting for the opening day of the ghost town. A row of scarlet panels emerged. It has been detected that the player carries a ghost tattoo, the ghost town has been opened, and the dungeon will be forced to enter. This copy cannot be exited. This copy cannot be left. This copy cannot be discarded. Lines of scarlet fonts flashed, as if indicating the coming danger. The copy has been anchored. It is detected that the player is wearing the title of Dungeon Collapser, and the game becomes more difficult. If a player is detected wearing the title Ghost Seeing Sorrow, the copy will have a certain chance of mutating. The copy is loading. You have completed the match. Copy, Nanli Ghost Town. Content, this is a prison where evil ghosts are exiled. It is a city where evil ghosts fight. There is only one rule here: strength is respected. Those who survive will witness the birth of a ghost and god. Number of players, 50. Main mission, disintegrate the fierce ghost gang. Side mission. Task tip, don't let your human identity be discovered. Difficulty, 4 stars. Warning, this copy requires you to explore your own way to leave. As the scarlet panel flashed by, the surrounding scene began to change. Shen Jian opened his eyes. Already appeared in an open space. The surroundings were densely packed with fierce ghosts. Shen Jian's face was expressionless. A slight glance. At this time, he was standing at the end of the team of ghosts. It has been detected that the player has the ghost doctor profession and a suitable identity has been matched for you. Your current identity, chief physician of the Mengui gang. Note, this dungeon cannot leave on its own. Completing the main mission will unlock clues for leaving the dungeon. Look at the information above. Shen Jian's eyes were slightly surprised. Play streaming mode. One of the most difficult and longest consuming modes in the game. And it is a 4-star dungeon difficulty play streaming mode. Shen Jian moved his eyes to the matters needing attention. Thoughtful. This copy cannot be left. Even if you complete the main mission, it is just a way to unlock and leave, rather than directly clearing the level. This undoubtedly increases the difficulty of the copy in disguise. Although the difficulty level is 4 stars, it is actually a difficulty level of 10 deaths and no life. Because of this fierce ghost gang, all members are half a step above the red. Once his identity as a human is revealed, he will surely die. The principle of dismantling a fierce ghost organization with all members above the half-step red level is the same as asking a ghost controller to dismantle the fallen angel organization. There is no other possibility except failure. This is a copy that no one can pass. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuletin Chigwa. Chapter 297. Look at the information constantly emerging on the panel. Not only Shenjian, but also the other players were confused. They stared wide-eyed at the number of 50 players on the board. And the scarlet 4-star difficulty words. 4-star difficulty, 50-player copy. This is no longer the beginning of hell, but the beginning of collapse. There is absolutely no hope of survival. The only mercy of the horror game is that all 50 players are placed in the last row of the ghost team. Even if there was any commotion, it would not be noticed. Otherwise, you will be dead in the beginning. Shenjian glanced over. The players in the last 2 rows all showed frightened expressions. Among these players, there were high and low levels. The lowest is over level 23, and the highest reaches level 45. Basically, they are between 3-star and 4-star players. Shenjian was thoughtful. The ghost town is obviously not a normal game copy. If you want to enter here, you can only go through the ghost tattoo. In other words, these 50 players all have ghost tattoos on their bodies. What the hell is this ghost town? In order to avoid the countdown of the ghost tattoo, I entered a 3-star dungeon the day before. But the moment the countdown ended, I was forcibly kicked out of the 3-star dungeon and entered got here. One player cursed secretly. Another player next to him said the same, me too. In order not to be swept in, I also entered a 2-star dungeon, but I still appeared here. It seems that we are all the same. We thought we were controlling a powerful ghost that has no ill intentions towards humans. We didn't expect that there would be a death countdown, and we couldn't get rid of it even if we tried. Several players spoke to each other about their experiences. And the results are pretty much the same. They are all players who accidentally mastered the ghost tattoo and were forced to enter the ghost town dungeon. At this time, the scarlet panel reappeared. Task tips: understand your identity and complete the corresponding job tasks. Note: read more and talk less. The game begins. Everyone was shocked. No more words. Start checking their identities. Shenjian looked thoughtfully at the identity of the chief physician of the Mengui gang displayed on the panel. The most important thing about playing flow mode is to disguise your identity. As long as the identity of the living person is not exposed, it doesn't matter even if it is different from the original person, and the identity of the attending physician is a professional counterpart to him. But he needed to know more. Shenjian took out the hypnotic ghost heart and hypnotized the half-step red-clothed ghost in front of him. Tell me about the Mengui gang, and who am I in your eyes? Shenjian said softly. The supernatural power from the ghost's heart suddenly put the ghost in front of him into a trance, and he told what he knew in one breath. Soon, Shenjian understood his situation. The Fierce Ghost Gang is one of the largest evil ghost organizations in Nanli Ghost City. It is in charge of the southern district of the Ghost City. Its leader is a ghost king who is about to be promoted to the unsolvable level of evil ghost. Currently out of town, it will take some time to come back. The person currently in charge of the Mengui gang is the gang leader's most capable assistant and his future sister-in-law. Just listening. Shenjian looked towards the front of the team. On the stage, a capable female ghost wearing a cheongsam was dividing tasks among the gang members. With an almost perfect side face, flawless white skin, and a figure with golden proportions, even the best cartoonist in the world cannot draw such a perfect golden figure. It should only exist in heaven, and it is rare to hear it in the human world. While listening, Shenjian watched with interest as the sister-in-law mobilized all the members. His skills reminded Shenjian of the city lord's wife Paininjian. It's just that I don't have that much ambition. In the story, the sister-in-law of the men ghost gang has powerful and decisive methods, and is not just a vase. Before meeting the leader of the men ghost gang, she had started from scratch in the ghost town and established an auction house, specializing in selling various supernatural props and human beings. Small objects. She is the business queen who is popular in the city. It is precisely because of the support of this sister-in-law that the fierce ghost gang was able to develop in an orderly manner and gradually became one of the largest ghost organizations in the ghost town. And me? Shen Jian asked. You are the gang leader's most trusted subordinate. Before leaving, the gang leader personally told you in front of all the brothers that you should take good care of your sisters-in-law, which attracted the jealousy and rejection of many brothers. Jealous? Exclusion. Shen Jian's eyes were startled. Of course, the current position of deputy gang leader is still vacant. If the gang leader entrusts you with a heavy responsibility, it means that you are the most trusted by the gang leader and the most likely to win the position of deputy gang leader. If you have the strength to match it, that's all. But you are just a red-shirt ghost doctor, and you have gained the trust of the gang leader with some medical skills, and you may even be able to take the position of deputy gang leader, so many brothers are naturally dissatisfied. Hear this. Shen Jian had some understanding of his current situation. This should be the impact of the title copy breaker. There is a certain chance of improving the initial game status, but it will also attract the hatred of other ghosts. For ordinary players, this is obviously a bad title effect. But for Shen Jian, the effect was great. Soon, the pep rally is over. 50 players gather. They each began to talk about the information they had collected. Brother, which city are you in charge of? Or a layman? Do you want to join us? At this time, a voice sounded behind Shen Jian. He turned and looked. A gang of 5 people was already approaching. Shen Jian's expression changed. All 5 of them are 4-star players, and their levels are all above level 40. Think about it? Shen Jian asked, oh, do you have any plans? Hear this. A gloomy-looking man in his early 30s came out. His ID is Scholar, and his level is the highest in the game, reaching level 45. You've asked the right person. We just went out to get some information and already have a lot of ideas. The main mission requires us to dismantle the fierce ghost gang. According to the information we gathered, the Mengui gang can be divided into 3 parts, the Intelligence Hall, the Law Enforcement Hall, and the Combat Hall. Among them, the Intelligence Hall is controlled by the sister-in-law just now, the Law Enforcement Hall is controlled by an Abyss-level female Ghost King, and the Battle Hall is personally led by the leader of the fierce ghost gang. Everything seems to be in order, but we still found a flaw in it, and that is money. Most of the expenses of the men ghost gang are supported by the sister-in-law's supernatural auction house. We only need to destroy it and cut off the power of the men ghost gang. The source of funds does not require us to take action, other evil organizations will beat up the lost dogs for us. Brother, do you want to join us? I just observed that there are only 6 of us 4-star players in the audience. We only need to work together to bring down the supernatural auction house. It is not difficult to complete the main task. We can work together later. Completely clear this copy. The gloomy man invited. Have you ever thought that it would be easier to directly deal with the sister-in-law and make her fall in love with her than to bring down the supernatural auction house? Shen Jian said. Scholar. Other players. They were slightly startled. God is so empathetic. That was a fierce ghost, and it was a top-notch red-clothed level ghost. Even if they dared to flirt with it, they had to be able to withstand the attack of a top-notch red-clothed level ghost head-on. And that is the future sister-in-law of the Mengui gang. Although the name has not been clearly given, everyone can tell that she must be the wife of the gang leader by default. Who would be crazy enough to flirt with the partner of an abyss-level ghost? Brother, Are you kidding me? The corner of the gloomy man's mouth twitched. I never expected that a 4-star veteran player would come up with such outrageous ideas. Could it be that he has gone crazy because he knows he has no hope of life? This situation is not uncommon. Thriller game players are already in the most tense state of mind. The slightest change may cause mental problems and do all kinds of incomprehensible things. Entering the ghost town is almost a lifeless dungeon. Knowing that there is no hope of survival, the player's already tight strings are directly disconnected. This is very normal. Shen Jian was non-committal. I have other plans, so I won't join you. Players. Damn, you don't have such outrageous thoughts. The 5 players looked at each other. The gloomy man even said, "Excuse me. A 4-star player with mental problems is a time bomb, and they are not willing to accept it." Shen Jian didn't care either. Turn around and leave. His current identity is the chief physician of the Mengui gang, and the leader of the Mengui gang has personally asked him to take good care of his sisters-in-law. Naturally, he will not betray the trust of the gang leader. While thinking, Shen Jian had already returned to the diagnosis and treatment room where he was based on the address. At this time, there was already a long queue outside the clinic. In the team, there are fierce ghosts and fierce spirits, and the yin qi is surging. He looked like I'm just looking for trouble. Shen Jian's eyes moved. These fierce ghosts are all members of the battle hall, and all of them are above the red level. Even the top red-coated devils account for the majority. Suck slip. If you catch them all, you will be fat. Shen Jian returned to his position. Some excitement. Look at the first patient. A tall and burly ghost with a sinewy face and a burly ghost whose muscles are no bigger than his head. What's your problem? Shen Jian asked. Doctor, I have a headache. The burly ghost laughed, opening his mouth, revealing bloody fangs. He thought this wave was stable. He directly said that he had a headache, but he didn't know exactly where it hurt or how it hurt, which made this weak doctor blind. If you don't prescribe medicine, then your medical skills are poor and you can't even see the symptoms. If you prescribe medicine but cannot tell the specific problem, then it involves medical issues. I believe that the gang leader will not trust such a doctor with questionable quality. Let me see. Shen Jian looked at it for a few times. His face suddenly became serious. He looked at it, sighed, grabbed his wrist to check again, and sighed again and again. He glanced at the burly ghost again and slowly lowered his head. He took out a medical encyclopedia. Just started checking it out. Burly ghost? I am super. What are you doing? Do you still need to check medical books to know your condition? He panicked. He's not sick. Why is this doctor checking medical books? If you had seen through his trick, you would have given him 2 pills and sent him away. But the other party really started reading medical books. This made the burly ghost panic. How serious is a disease that even ghost doctors don't know about? Is he really sick? The burly ghost couldn't help but ask, Doctor, I just have a headache. Is this serious? Shen Jian looked up. After pondering for a while, he said, this is not a serious problem, but a very rare disease. How rare is it? I decided to name this disease after you. Burly ghost. Grass. It's so rare. He was completely panicked. Holding Shen Jian's hand, he swallowed, Doctor, help me. Shen Jian smiled and took out a chainsaw from his body. Don't worry, I will definitely save you, but I don't know if you can accept this kind of treatment. Very radical. Well, it's my first time to use it too. I named it brain expansion therapy. Burly ghost? Brain opening therapy? What's the meaning? The burly ghost followed Shen Jian's gaze and saw Shen Jian grabbing the chainsaw and focusing on his head. Mind-blowing. Damn it. It turns out you meant it literally. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chigwa. Chapter 298. Looking at the chainsaw in Shen Jian's hand. The burly ghost's face was full of horror. He was obviously just here to cause trouble, so why did he need craniotomy? Your situation is very dangerous and you must receive treatment immediately. Come on, lie down and I will operate on you. Without any explanation, Shen Jian directly held down the burly ghost. The chainsaw is about to chop into the head. The burly ghost wanted to struggle, but found that this doctor, who was only a red-coated doctor, was actually stronger than him. A big hand like a cattail leaf fan was like a mountain, unable to shake it at all. He was even more confused. He is a member of the battle hall. Supernatural is born to fight, and he has experienced several bloody battles with the leader of the fierce ghost gang. He trains every day, and now he is the best among the top red-clad ghosts. As for this doctor, he looks weak at first glance, and he is also a ghost doctor. Logically speaking, he is very powerful. But he was suppressed for no reason. He could only watch as Shen Jian's chainsaw got closer and closer to his head. No, don't. Doctor, I suddenly don't feel like I have a headache anymore. The burly ghost yelled. Hear this. As expected, Shen Jian's movements paused. Then you're done. If it doesn't hurt, it means your brain is completely numb and rusty. You need to open the skull as soon as possible. Said. The chainsaw has already cut it? Burly ghost. Who the hell are you saying has a rusty brain? Cursing people around the corner, right? And who said that if it doesn't hurt, it means it's numb? Is there a possibility that I am really not sick? Shen Jian looked at each other with a smile. The meaning in his eyes was very clear, disbelief. Then the chainsaw cut right through. Ah! The burly ghost screamed. I'm not sick, I really am not sick. The burly ghost screamed and yelled. Soon. Shen Jian stopped the chainsaw. Looking at the brain full of ideas, he said with some disappointment, well, I didn't expect you to be right. You are really not sick. The burly ghost. He almost laughed angrily. But his head was opened, and he was extremely weak at this time. If he didn't close his head, he would probably die on the spot. Staring at Shen Jian with a malicious look, the burly ghost left immediately. Around. While queuing up, the fierce ghosts who were looking for trouble looked at each other, and then they all took a step back. This is so damn cruel. How come I didn't know this doctor had such a cruel side before? This method will make you feel wronged even if you go to the battle hall and become the team leader. You should be the hall leader. The ghosts are afraid. No one dared to step forward anymore. I'm looking down on you. You still know how to establish your authority, so I asked you how could the gang leader have such trust in a little-known barefoot doctor? Just then, a hoarse voice sounded. Shen Jian looked over. An equally tall ghost came out with gray hair. One of his left eyes was blinded, leaving 5 fierce claw marks. On the left shoulder, a piece of rotten flesh turned dark red and condensed into another piece. The dark blood clot looked extremely oozing. The blind ghost came to Shen Jian and said in a gloomy tone, I am the captain of the battle hall. I have been cursed, but no one can help me cure it. I heard that you are trusted by the gang leader and have been entrusted with important tasks. I think your medical skills must be yes, you can help me clean up these curses. Said. He looked at Shen Jian with a serious look on his face. I was prepared to watch this doctor beg for mercy, saying that I didn't dare to treat him. Because the curse on his left shoulder is a mixture of resentment and yin energy, which is extremely corrosive to evil spirits. If humans are contaminated, it will kill dozens of people in just 3 seconds. Even red-clothed level ghosts cannot be contaminated, and their supernatural power will be reduced all the time, and their yin qi will decrease sharply, accompanied by great pain. If he hadn't been a ghost that was infinitely close to the abyss level, he might have already fallen into a state of death under the torment of this curse. He also looked for famous doctors in the ghost town, but no one dared to help him treat him. They are all afraid of being contaminated by the curse. Effect itself. He was sure that the red-coated doctor in front of him did not dare to treat him. In this way, he would have a legitimate reason to give the doctor a slap in the face and tell him not to worry about his position that he shouldn't worry about. Shen Jian saw it. A bit of surprise flashed in his eyes. Because this disease really exists in the ghost doctor's knowledge. Collectively known as supernatural toxins. If you want to treat this mixed type of supernatural toxin, the doctor will inevitably come into contact with the curse, which will cause himself to be corroded. Even famous doctors would not dare to treat such patients easily. How about it? If you don't dare to treat it, just go ahead. The blind ghost showed some confidence on his face and was ready to beat up the doctor with words. However, Shen Jian had already brought 2 scalpels from the diagnosis and treatment room. He smiled and said, "Patient, your disease is a bit serious. If you want to treat it, you need to perform a surgical level of debridement." Blind ghost? He was slightly startled. Did he hear it wrong? This doctor said he dared to treat it? Are you sure you dare to treat me? Do you know what curse is on me? The blind ghost hesitated. In the past, the most common thing he heard was rejection, but now that someone dared to treat him, he became less confident. Can you cure it? Shen Jian asked rhetorically. Rule. After a moment of silence, the blind man gritted his teeth and said, "How is your surgical ability?" Shen Jian thought for a while. Although his inherited knowledge of ghost doctors does not include proficiency in surgery, he has helped many ghosts perform surgeries. He said that since he is proficient in surgery, there should be no big problems. Think of this. Shen Jian nodded confidently and said, "Don't worry, I have a lot of experience. I have treated no less than double-digit patients, and every patient has given me very high praise." So smart. The blind man was deeply suspicious. Of course, for example, I asked these patients to come back to me for a review, and in the end no one came. The blind ghost was stunned for a moment. Didn't even come back for a review. Is this surgical level so strong? Not even the slightest sequelae or complications. After hearing this example, the blind man had a little more confidence in Shen Jian. "Okay, I believe you once, let's use the knife." Hear this. Shen Jian showed a satisfied smile. Finally, he had another serious person to practice his ghost doctor proficiency on. He had almost forgotten that his level as a ghost doctor had only reached the proficiency level, and he still had more than half of the experience points he needed to become a famous doctor. Think of this. The excitement on Shen Jian's face became even stronger. The corners of his mouth widened. Blind ghost. Looking at Shen Jian with such a smile, for some reason, he had an ominous premonition in his heart. I always feel like this doctor is probably unreliable. Illusion. It must be an illusion. He kept comforting himself. No doctor in the entire ghost town dared to treat him. Now that he finally found one who dared to treat him, how could he give up all his previous efforts? This curse has been eroding his body for more than half a year. Even as a ghost king, he sometimes feels a dull pain. If it is not removed, this half of his shoulder will become useless in the future. Thinking. Shen Jian asked, "Do you need anesthesia?" "Unnecessary." The blind ghost waved, and a younger brother brought up a chess set. He turned sideways, stretched out the cursed half of his arm, and played chess with the younger brother with his other hand. At the same time, he said calmly, "Anesthetics will only affect my nerve reaction speed in fighting. You can do whatever you want, Just frown and I will lose. See here. Shen Jian became even more excited. That's great. I've never given anyone anesthesia before. You really hit on my major. Blind ghost? His hand holding the chess piece froze slightly. My heart skipped a beat. What did the doctor just say? Before he could react, he only heard the sound of penetration, and the strong stinging pain made his whole body tense up. The blind ghost turned his head with difficulty, then lowered his head slightly. When he saw the scalpel inserted into his shoulder and 3/3 of his arm, he was stunned for a moment. Before we start, shouldn't you remind me? Shen Jian was startled. Don't you need anesthesia? Blind ghost. I just don't take anesthesia, but that doesn't mean I don't feel pain. What's more, is this treatment? Which doctor taught you this? The ominous premonition grew stronger. As if he knew what the blind man was thinking, Shen Jian comforted him. Don't worry, I'm just testing the knife. Hear this. The blind man forced himself not to look at the other side and turned his attention back to the chess piece. He kept telling himself. Testing the knife is normal. If this doctor can be trusted by the gang leader and become the chief physician of the Mengui gang, he must have his own merits. At least in terms of medical skills, he must be worthy of the title of chief physician. That's it? He kept telling himself this. Then. The blind man stiffened his head again. Then he saw a scalpel inserted into his arm. Blind ghost? He looked at Shen Jian with a dangerous expression. A grimace has become distorted. The canthus of the eyes is about to split. The first one is a test knife, so what are you doing with the second one? Shen Jian said impatiently, why do you care so much? Are you a doctor or am I a doctor? What's more, these flesh and blood corroded by the curse will be cut off later. Why do you care so much? Blind ghost? Damn it! It's not inserted into your flesh, and it's not you who's in pain. You put it lightly. His chest heaved. Emotions cannot be calmed down. The turbulent yin qi has swept out, and the supernatural threat belonging to the Ghost King level is also spreading. The younger brother who was closest to him turned pale. Trembling with fear. The blind ghost looked at Shen Jian. He was planning to give this doctor a slap in the face and tell him not to do so many tricks. This method cannot scare him. On the contrary, it will completely irritate him. Provoking a Ghost King has serious consequences. Doctor, you said you wanted to cure me. If I can't be cured, you won't be able to bear the anger of a Ghost King. Finished. He began to converge his yin qi, and the supernatural power began to dissipate. His face once again showed the confidence of a battle hall captain, a figure infinitely close to an abyss-level ghost. He held the black chess piece in his left hand and started fighting on the chessboard. He has the aura of scraping bones to heal wounds, so there is nothing to be afraid of. Until Shen Jian raised the scalpel, inserted it into the coagulated rotten flesh, and then slashed hard. Ah! An extremely tragic wail sounded. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Bulletin Chi Gua. Chapter 299. Pain. It hurt so much. A sharp pain like a heart-breaking pain. What was conveyed in that moment was a kind of pain that even a tough guy couldn't bear. The blind man screamed immediately. He turned around sharply, just in time to see Shen Jian insert a scalpel into the coagulated rotten flesh and cut it into pieces. What are you doing? The blind ghost roared with anger burning in his eyes. A grimace couldn't help but twist and become ferocious because of the intense pain, looking at Shen Jian as if he was choosing someone to eat. Can't you see? I'm helping you clean up the curse. Shen Jian looked as usual and slashed to the side again. Ah! The blind ghost screamed again. He looked at Shen Jian with confusion. The look in his eyes seemed to say, I have such a big piece of rotten flesh and it's all ligated. Instead of shaving it off bit by bit, you start cutting it from the place where the curse breeds. In this regard, Shen Jian gave an explanation, this is efficient. Blind ghost. Damn it, you're so efficient, I'm going to explode in pain. He finally determined that this damn doctor didn't know how to operate at all. He was not treating him at all. This horse riding was clearly an execution. His chess hand was shaking. Because of the severe pain, the chess pieces were crushed by him. Damn it! This doctor is so damned. It would be a pity if he didn't become an executioner. Go to the places where others hurt the most. Do you need anesthesia? Shen Jian asked kindly, I see that you are almost crying in pain. It turns out that the members of your battle hall are also so bitchy. Blind ghost? Make trouble. This doctor is up to something. He subconsciously turned his head to look at the gang members in the distance. He saw other fierce ghosts looking at him with strange expressions, and muttering secretly, it turns out that the captain of the battle hall also needs to be anesthetized for his actions. I thought he was so awesome. I gave anesthetics, and the battle hall captain also gave anesthetics. I equals captain of battle hall equals king of ghosts. Blind ghost. Shen Jian asked again, do I need anesthesia? Roll. The blind man trembled and pinched the corner of the table, his face was trembling with deathly white. How can you tell that I am in pain? I don't feel any pain at all. Just do it, frown, just scream out. I lose. I'm just waiting for your words. Shen Jian quickened his pace. Perhaps because of operating on the Ghost King, he found that the experience value of the ghost doctor profession increased very quickly. In the past, when he treated a patient, he would only gain less than 3 experience points. However, operating on a Ghost King only required the scalpel. Insert the cursed flesh and blood, and the experience points begin to skyrocket. The higher the level of the ghost, the more experience points the treatment brings. The more difficult the disease, the more experience points it will gain after being cured. If this continues, if he can help this fierce ghost gang conduct a nationwide examination and treatment, the ghost doctor profession will be promoted to the stage of famous doctor. Think of this. Shen Jian's treatment became more attentive. 2 scalpels are used alternately, one is inserted into the front end of the rotten flesh, and the other is inserted into the end, to cut back and forth. Click. A crisp sound caught Shen Jian's attention. Shen Jian said in a dissatisfied tone, patient, please don't pick at anything in my clinic, and stop the nails that are pierced on the table. Look at how old you are, and you are still as excited as a child. Blind ghost. I'm so excited. I am in so much pain that I can no longer control my strength. He swore that when the doctor completed the operation, he would understand what the Ghost King's wrath was. 10 minutes later. The blind ghost was lying there hugging the counter like a dead pig, foaming at the mouth, the whites of his eyes rolled up, barely visible, and his body was twitching, and he had obviously passed out. He felt like he was having a dream. In the dream, a demon tied him up and used 2 knives to cut his body. No anesthesia at all. Okay, the treatment is complete. At this time, Shen Jian also looked at the ghost doctor professional experience value on the panel with satisfaction, which had exceeded 1/3. Ghost doctor, mastery level 310/1000. Going up to the proficient level is a famous doctor at the level of director of Huanquan Hospital. This represents a group of doctors with the highest medical skills in the horror world. It's even more of an honor. Huanquan Hospital has become the largest supernatural hospital in Nanjiang district precisely because of the famous Dr. Len Yan, the female director. Its nature is the same as the identity of the paper-making master in the Winter Landing district. He is confident that he can upgrade the ghost doctor profession to the level of a famous doctor in the ghost town. The other side. Hearing Shen Jian's voice, the blind man immediately woke up. He reluctantly moved his head to look at the curse that had been completely removed from his shoulders, and a bit of excitement appeared on his dead white face. Because of this curse, he was troubled for half a year. Unexpectedly, it was cleared today. Excluding this doctor's surgical skills, which can be described as cruel and like killing pigs, I have to say that he does have two brushes. He is worthy of being the chief physician of the Mengui gang. But he is here to cause trouble today. Moreover, the doctor's previous actions were also suspected of deliberately torturing him. If this situation was not restored, his title of captain of the battle hall would be completely ruined. Then, the blind man struggled to stand up. Shaky. The look he looked at Shen Jian also turned resentful. It can make a ghost king who is infinitely close to an abyss-level ghost become so weak. You can imagine what kind of inhuman torture he endured during the 10 minutes of treatment. If God can give him another chance, he must choose to beat the doctor before treatment. Hey, why are you running? The treatment is not over yet. At this time, Shen Jian suddenly spoke. He pushed the blind man back into his position. Doctor, the curse has been removed. I'm sure I'm cured. The blind ghost was slightly startled. Constantly struggling. But I found that this doctor was really strong. Although he is very weak now. But he is a ghost king after all. No matter how weak the ghost king is, he cannot be suppressed by a red-clad fierce ghost. But he found that he was suppressed. The big hand of the cattail leaf fan on his shoulder clamped down on his body like a vice, preventing him from moving. Then, he watched with his own eyes as Shen Jian took out a bottle of disinfectant alcohol. Blind ghost? I'm super, what else do you want to do? He was a little panicked and said quickly, Doctor, what do you want to do? The curse has been removed. I can already feel that my condition is improving and I no longer need extra treatment. He tried to struggle again. To no avail. Shen Jian's eyes were strange and he said, Patient, postoperative infection is the biggest trouble, and it needs to be disinfected. No, stop, Yazhidi, don't do it. Looking at the disinfectant alcohol in Shen Jian's hand, the blind ghost ignored it and began to unleash supernatural powers wantonly. The huge supernatural threat made the surrounding ghosts all turn pale. However, Shen Jian seemed not to be affected. Under the eyes of the blind ghost, he poured disinfectant alcohol on his left shoulder. Ah! A scream sounded like a pig being slaughtered. The blind man fell down on the counter with a plop. Fell into temporary hibernation. Huh? You can't hold on anymore. Shen Jian clicked his tongue, grabbed the blind man and walked into the consultation room, then took the opportunity to stuff a sack. A ghost king that is infinitely close to the abyss level can stand up to 2 or 3 ordinary ghost kings. And a ghost king that can survive the fighting in the ghost city must be the best among the fierce ghosts, and can stand up to at least 3 ghost kings. This time, 3 of the 50 small goals were completed instantly. A satisfied smile appeared on Shen Jian's face. It is indeed a ghost town, a city of ghosts. This was achieved within half a day of arrival. Think of this. Shen Jian walked out of the consultation room. He greeted warmly, What's next? Who wants to see a doctor next? Group of ghosts. Hear this. All the ghosts who were ready to find trouble shivered. Is this really a cure? It was clearly in Lingqi. Killing pigs. The captain was such a hard-blooded man, but he couldn't even finish the treatment at the hands of this devil doctor, and even fainted twice. They don't feel that their performance is better than that of the captain. No one came. Shen Jian frowned. His eyes suddenly looked at the bandaged Li Gui, and his eyes lit up. Patient, who taught you this bandaging technique? It's terrible. Didn't you find that your muscles and bones have been displaced? Come here quickly and I'll help you retie it. All the ghost's eyes immediately focused on a bandage ghost. Bandage ghost. He was slightly startled. Subconsciously he glanced at the injury on his right hand. This rescue technique is indeed not professional, it can even be said to be amateurish, and the injured area was not even fixed for him. He came here today to find a professional doctor to help him refix it. But now, he hesitated. Hesitated again and again. He tore off the straps with one hand and let one of his right arms hang down like a fracture. He said with a sneer, "Doctor, I won't bother you. I'm fine now." Said. The bandit guy just ran away. See this? The other evil ghosts also slipped away. Shenjian. Without the patient, Shenjian sat in the consultation room with nothing to do. He opened the chat interface. Pay attention to the trends of the player community. The 50 players are mixed, and although they are all players with 3 stars or above, level 20 and level 30 are obviously two different levels. The former is likely to have just entered the 3-star dungeon not long ago, while the latter has already experienced a large number of 3-star dungeons and has rich supernatural experience. These people are naturally unwilling to cooperate with players in the level 20 range. This also led to a phenomenon. The 50 players who entered the ghost town were directly divided into 3 groups. A team of level 20 players. A team of level 30 players. The 4-star players formed another small group. Choose to take down the supernatural auction house. Certainly. There are also some loners who have different ideas and act according to their own ideas. Soon, a piece of bad news came. Scholar at all members, please be aware that some players have behaved too outrageously and have been discovered by the fierce ghost gang. Now they are screening human identities everywhere, and pay attention to concealment. Shenjian withdrew his gaze. A glance out of the corner of my eye. His eyes lit up. He saw that the sister-in-law had already walked out of the gang and was about to leave. Think about it. Shenjian walked over. His eyes moved. Ghost sister-in-law Lu Rong. Level, red level. Introduction: a refined and capable business queen, who combines beauty and talent, and is the leader of the Mengui gang. She has hinted many times, but has not received a response. She has doubts about her charm and attempts to numb herself with work. Current status: extremely tired and worried. Favorability: 1, first acquaintance. Shenjian was thoughtful. He once heard the life story of the leader of the fierce ghost gang while hypnotizing him. Born in a ghost town since childhood, he lived a hard life, was weak, and was bullied. He was a well-known coward in the streets and alleys, but when he turned 18, this situation changed. Not only did he possess power, but he also conquered his younger brothers everywhere, established the foundation of the Mengui gang, and became the famous newcomer king of the ghost town. The power is immeasurable. But no one knows how the leader of the Mengui gang made his fortune. There are rumors that the leader of the Mengui gang obtained the property left by a ghost god, which made him what he is today. Shenjian's eyes were strange. He turns a blind eye to his sister-in-law's hints, but he still has many sisters-in-law who are happy with him. Is this a fierce ghost who specializes in career? Can you open a harem without involving the emperor? While thinking, Shenjian was already standing in front of his sister-in-law. Sister-in-law, let me take you back. Shenjian said. His eyes happened to fall on her most prominent part. Wearing a cyan cheongsam that shows off her figure, she looks delicate and dignified. There are no rough waves, but it's not like there are no waves in the ancient well. It can be regarded as rippling. From his visual inspection, he should be able to control it. Ghost sister-in-law Lu Rong glanced at Shenjian. She still trusts this little brother who was personally appointed by her husband. After all, that person wouldn't harm her. Apart from turning a blind eye to his various hints, he had nothing to say in other aspects. She trusts her man, and naturally she also trusts this little brother. Well, let's go back. But maybe it was because of the long hours of work. The moment she turned around, her mind suddenly spun and her steps staggered. Shen Jian glanced at it. With the strength of the sister-in-law, who is a fierce ghost in red, there is no possibility of falling due to this level of staggering, and she will only take 1 or 2 steps back. But play when you have the chance, and play when you don't have the chance to create opportunities. Then Shen Jian exclaimed, "Sister-in-law, be careful," said. He pulled his sister-in-law Lu Rong into his arms. "Sister-in-law, are you okay?" I'm fine. Maybe it's because I've been working too hard these days. I just need to take a rest." "Okay, sister-in-law, I'll help you take a rest." Shen Jian enjoyed the warm fragrant nephrite and naturally put his hand on her back. "Ghost sister-in-law Lu Rong. Feel the warmth from the big hands on your back." A cold light flashed on her face. The terrifying yin qi belonging to the top red-clad ghosts burst out. Although her strength is nothing in the ghost city, it is also not comparable to Shen Jian, a red-clad ghost doctor. "Sister-in-law, let me help you get to the car. Be careful." But after listening to Shen Jian's words and looking at Shen Jian's business-like face, which showed no trace of male-female affection or erotic desire, she hesitated a little. The other party didn't seem to be taking advantage of her intentionally. And this was the younger brother that the leader of the Mengui gang personally selected for her. His level of loyalty was undeniable, so how could he have any crooked thoughts about her? It's because she's too sensitive. Think of this. She restrained her yin qi. There was also a hint of apology on his face. "I knew I had misunderstood this little brother. I am already thinking about how to compensate the other party in the future." Thinking. She has been helped by Shen Jian to the rear seat. But it took a little more force when I put it down. Ghost sister-in-law Lu Rong didn't pay attention. He fell directly onto the back seat, half leaning on one side. "Showing all your capital in front of a man. What's more important is that because of wearing a cheongsam, the slit is also exposed to some fair skin. For a while, Shen Jian has the eyes to discover beauty." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 300. Ah! A scream. It broke Shen Jian's appreciation of beauty. He looked back and noticed that the ghost sister-in-law Lu Rong was staring at him, looking like she was choosing others to devour. "Did you see that?" Shen Jian looked normal and asked, "Sister-in-law, what do I see?" "White." He added inwardly. "I didn't expect that the sister-in-law wearing a cheongsam and showing off her charming figure would be so pure at heart. How could such a normal, even old-fashioned style seduce a man?" "You." Seeing that this little brother refused to admit it and looked arrogant, the ghost sister-in-law gritted her teeth. She felt that this man just did it on purpose. But she had no proof. And she couldn't force the other party to ask what she meant by bitter, the color of tea. I could only move my legs silently. Pull down the lifted cheongsam. Covers fair skin. Then he said coldly, "After you finish today, you don't want to come tomorrow. You should continue to be your attending physician here." Shen Jian was non-committal. Take another look. Ghost sister-in-law Lu Rong. Favorability, -20, wary. Shen Jian clicked his tongue. Don't care. Originally, I only had a good impression of him, and he was no different from a stranger. In his observation, even if he greets strangers, he can still leave 5 to 10 points of favorability in the eyes of strangers. 1 point of favorability means that in the eyes of this sister-in-law, he is just a passerby. Or just walk over quickly without even being able to tell. And the other party is obviously not blind. That leaves only one possibility. This sister-in-law can only tolerate one man, the leader of the Mengui gang. In her opinion, other men are just passers-by. This kind of strategy difficulty is useless to anyone. If you want to conquer her, you need to leave a deep impression on her heart. As the saying goes, since you can't leave a good impression in her heart, it's better to make her hate you than to become a passerby and have no impression at all in the other person's eyes. Shen Jian got into the car, sitting in the driver's seat. The ghost's sister-in-law was sitting in the back row and said coldly, "Send me to the supernatural auction house." Shen Jian put his left arm on the car window and drove skillfully with one hand. At the same time, he did not forget to say, "I am a doctor and I need to be responsible for your health. You are very tired now and need to go home and rest." Hearing that Shen Jian dared to refute her, sister-in-law ghost frowned and said in a cold voice, "Don't forget, I am the second in command of the Meng Ghost gang. I have the right to command the gang members. I order you now to send them to the police immediately. I'm going to the supernatural auction house." Shen Jian ignored it. "Sister-in-law, the leader asked me to take good care of you. He just asked you to take care of me. He didn't let you decide where I should go. If it delays my work, can you be responsible?" "I'm not responsible for your work, I'm only responsible for you." "Stop, I asked you to stop, I want to get off." "Hear this?" Shen Jian said casually, "You can't stop the car, but you can consider jumping out of the car, so that if you get into an accident, it will have nothing to do with me." Ghost sister-in-law. She froze suddenly. Something is wrong. There is something wrong with this little brother. Which little brother dares to speak to his sister-in-law like this? She glanced at the car, which had already reached a speed of over 160 yards, and silently retracted the outstretched ghost claw. A pair of willow eyebrows filled with anger, staring intently at the hard-eared driver in front of him, trying to make Shen Jian give in with this silent oppression. Unfortunately, Shen Jian only faced her with the back of his head. The threat of the ghost sister-in-law was thrown to the blind man. Soon, the car arrived at its destination. It was a two-story Western-style building with an independent courtyard. The total area of the ghost town is not large. It's about the size of a town. If you want to own your own house in a ghost town surrounded by evil ghosts and coveted by all ghosts, firstly, you need strength, and secondly, you need power. On these 2 points, Ghost's sister-in-law satisfied the latter. She is not only the owner of the supernatural auction house, but also the second in command of the fierce ghost gang. With 2 major forces standing behind her, no one dares to provoke her. Shen Jian got out of the car and opened the door. "Sister-in-law, we're home." Lu Rong, the ghost's sister-in-law, crossed her legs and folded her arms in front of her chest, showing a posture of refusing to communicate. "I'll say it again, I'm not going home, I have to work, and I order you to send me there now, right away." Supernatural auction house. Shen Jian slowly lowered his head, looked at the ghost's sister-in-law in the car, and said word by word, "Get out of the car." "Are you ordering me?" Next moment, the terrifying yin qi belonging to the top red-clothed level ghosts in the ghost's sister-in-law surged and supernatural powers exploded. A head of black ghost hair immediately wrapped around Shen Jian's neck. He said with a gloomy face, "Send me back immediately, otherwise you." "Zilla." She didn't finish her sentence. Shen Jian reached out and pulled, and the ghost hair wrapped around his neck broke. Ghost sister-in-law. She looked stunned. Disbelief flashed in his eyes. How did this doctor, who was only a red-coated doctor, tear off her ghost hair? Although she has never fought specifically, her supernatural powers can achieve good results in battle. At least she is very confident in facing off against a top-notch red-clad ghost. Especially the toughness of Guffaw. Once entangled, even the top red-clad ghosts cannot break free in a short period of time. But this doctor just broke it off. How can this be? Not believing in evil, she once again activated her supernatural power. The result is still the same. Easily torn apart. She was completely dumbfounded. Let Shenjian pick her up. You, what's going on with you? Aren't you a red coat level? Are you hiding the terror level? Wait, you can't go in, put me down, I can leave by myself, are you crazy? Who gave you the right to enter my house, get out. Ah, bastard, you hurt me when you fell. The ghost sister-in-law was thrown onto the bed by Shenjian without mercy. The bed she carefully selected was extremely flexible, was it? He fell onto the bed and his body was bounced several times. She glared at Shenjian angrily. There were 3 parts of shame, 3 parts of anger, and 3 parts of confusion in his eyes. This daring young man was the first man to enter her boudoir. Not even her beloved came in. This is intolerable for her who loves one person wholeheartedly. At the same time, she was even more surprised and wondered why this doctor, who she had never seen directly, a ghost who was not famous in the Mengui gang at all, and who almost made her forget that there were doctors in the Meng Ghost gang, had more terrifying strength than her. If you want to cut off her supernatural power head-on, you have to be at least the Ghost King level. But if you want to break it off with just a pull like Shenjian, ordinary Ghost Kings can't do it. You have to be a Ghost King at the level of the Battle Hall Captain to do it. A Ghost King is hiding in the Mengui gang like this. Does the gang leader know? Or is it because he knew that he entrusted this doctor with such an important task? She is confused now. Especially when this man spoke again, I say it for the last time, rest honestly. What if I don't? The ghost sister-in-law glared at Shenjian, and her ghost hair danced wildly behind her again. My body is mine, why do you have the right to interfere with my freedom? I really don't have any power, but I have punching power. After all, knocking him unconscious is just a matter of sleeping, so I don't mind attacking him directly. Shenjian glanced at her. The whole crowd cheered as they clenched their fists. Ghost sister-in-law. You. She wanted to say something else, but looking at Shenjian who was already gearing up, she fell silent and directly pulled the quilt to wrap herself up and cover herself in the quilt. Okay. A cold snort came. Shenjian glanced at the favorability score. Favorability, -12, wary. The eyes are a little weird. He had no intention of improving the other party's favor today, he just wanted to use tougher methods to leave an impression on the sister-in-law. Did not expect. The favorability increased. Although the value is still negative, the other party seems to like this strong style. What do you need at the supernatural auction house? I can do it for you. Think about it. Shenjian said. There is no rush to dismantle the Mengui gang. It takes multiple factors to break up the organization. The ghost sister-in-law is a part of it, and so is the supernatural auction house. And it is the most important part. He didn't mind interfering. Hear this. The ghost sister-in-law Lurong stuck out her angry head. He said angrily, the auctioneer of the supernatural auction house was caught. He is the only human auctioneer in the city. The auction house hosted by him is always full, causing the transaction price to exceed several percentage points. His being caught means that the supernatural auction house lacks an ace. This matter is very serious. Shenjian was slightly startled. Human auctioneer? Can any human survive here? Think of this. Shenjian couldn't help but think of the players who were forced to enter the ghost town because of failed missions in the Samsung Dungeon Sweet Home. In order to be able to enter the ghost town, he specially gave the other party a ghost tattoo, hoping to rely on this player's help to get clues to enter the ghost town. But after so long, the other party didn't respond. I don't know if he's dead or if this method doesn't work. Think about it. Shen Jian said, do you have any clues and photos of the auctioneer? I will help you rescue it. Said. There was also a bit of excitement on Shen Jian's face. What he likes most is the famous revenge. No, revenge. You want to go? Are you okay? Hear this. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows, wanting this sister-in-law to tell him personally whether he could do it or not. Give me picture. Oh. The ghost sister-in-law took out the album from the file tape. Shen Jian took a look. He looked startled. The human auctioneer in the photo was the player he met who failed the mission and was forced to enter the ghost town. However, the ghost tattoo on the other person's body seemed to be missing. See this? Shen Jian sighed. Quite a coincidence. I don't know what this player has been through. His appearance, which was originally in his early 30s, has suddenly aged by more than 10 years, and even the ghost tattoo is gone. No wonder he didn't get any clues. What's wrong? The ghost sister-in-law was confused. It's nothing. Just go to sleep and there will be good news when you wake up. If I find you still awake when I come back, don't blame me for being a jerk. Ghost sister-in-law. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 301. Looking at the photo in his hand, Shen Jian was very surprised. It must have been more than 4 months since he experienced the Samsung copy of Sweet Home. In his heart, he had long given up any hope for the player whose ID was Uncle Chen. Just treat him as dead. Unexpectedly, there is a chance to meet again. And it seems that although this player has lost the ghost tattoo and the ghost puzzle, he has also made a name for himself in the ghost town and became an auctioneer at the supernatural auction house. Even the ghost sister-in-law Lu Rong highly praised him. No hesitation. Shen Jian went downstairs. He drove away directly from MRS Ghost's car. According to the information investigated by the supernatural auction house, this player disappeared half a day ago, and the person who captured him was a top-notch red-clad ghost. However, this matter has little to do with the supernatural auction house. It's purely a personal grudge. It was this player who accidentally offended this top-notch red-clothed ghost, and the other party made the move to arrest him. But the trouble is that there are other ghost organizations behind this top-notch red-clad ghost. It belongs to a small hall under the name of this ghost organization. Once it comes to the door with great fanfare, I am afraid it will cause conflicts between the fierce ghost gang and other gangs. Contradiction. Just like this, the ghost sister-in-law forced herself to go to the supernatural auction house to resolve the matter despite her fatigue. Shen Jian's face was expressionless. Driving a car at a fast speed. On the way to the destination. Upstairs. The ghost sister-in-law had secretly poked her head out and came to the balcony, looking at Shen Jian, who drove away his car with an angry look on his face. Gritting teeth. This doctor is so courageous. She was the second in command of the Mengui gang, the wife appointed by the gang leader, and his sister-in-law, but he treated her like that, ready to do something if he disagreed with her. If she hadn't been defeated, she would have let Shen Jian know why she could be in charge of such a huge gang of fierce ghosts. Think of this. She thought again that she had had close contact with this strange man twice. Once I was hugged around the waist. Once, he took the initiative to hold the other person's neck, and then he was carried into the house. That bastard doctor, let him go away tomorrow. Lu Rong, the ghost sister-in-law, was waving her little fists at the balcony, as if she was about to hit Shen Jian with an iron fist from afar. Then returned to the bedroom. Sleep. It wasn't that she was afraid of that bastard doctor returning here, but she was really sleepy. She has been working for 2 days in a row, running between the supernatural auction house and the fierce ghost gang's business, and has no time to rest at all. At this time, there was a man who could help her deal with this situation. While maintaining her anger towards Shen Jian, she felt a little at ease. Then fell into a deep sleep. The other side. Destination arrived. This is a gloomy house. Shen Jian got out of the car. A cold breath hit his face, accompanied by some rotten smell and a faint smell of blood. Shen Jian looked over. The gate of the house is a two-part wooden door, painted with vermilion color. It smells of paint and also of blood. No hesitation. Shen Jian strode over. When he got closer, he discovered that there was a head on the wooden door. It seemed that someone had forced it into the wooden door. Blood was flowing down and seeping into the wooden door. Dye the wooden door vermilion. Just when Shen Jian was approaching, the head on the wooden door suddenly raised its head, and the whole face was filled with blood. Help me! I'm stuck in here and I can't get my head out. A miserable cry for help came from this head, the voice was plaintive and dull. Resounded in the silent house. Creepy. Help me! Come on! Help me pull the head out! The miserable cries for help continued, inducing passers-by to come to help. Bursts of ghostly sounds. More and more desolate. People can't help but feel compassion and want to step forward to help the other person get out of trouble and save him from this pain. Shen Jian is no exception. He walked over. He asked anxiously and concernedly, "Are you asking for help? You were stuffed into the wooden door and now you can't move. It's so pathetic. I can't bear to see this kind of bad thing happening where the strong bullies the weak and the big bullies the small. Brother Ghost, I will definitely make the decision for you." Wooden Gate Ghost? He was slightly startled. Did you finally meet a kind person today? It's not easy. In a place like a ghost town where fighting is fierce and there is no sympathy, the probability of meeting a kind person is as slim as the probability of meeting a human being. He has been begging for help for more than 10 years, but no prey has taken the bait. Unexpectedly, it finally opened today. Then, the wooden door ghost's cry for help became louder. "I'm so miserable, so pitiful, come and save me. Come here, have you seen my head? I'm stuffed in and I can't breathe." Inside the wooden door, a pale, ferocious face revealed a cruel smile. When this kind ghost came over, he dragged the other person in to keep him company. The other side. Shen Jian didn't seem to realize that he was walking into the abyss step by step. He came to the wooden door and asked with concern, "Brother, how can I save you?" The ferocious smile on Mumengi's face became thicker and his voice became duller. "Have you seen my head? Reach over and help me pull it out." Just when Mumengi thought this kind man would do as he was told. But suddenly he heard Shen Jian say, "Good brother, this can't work. Your head is already connected to the wooden door. If you pull it out by force, you can only pull your head out, and you will die." Wooden door ghost. It's been a long time since I heard that some kind-hearted people are concerned about my life and death. This made him slightly stunned. I felt a moment of warmth. In this city of thousands of ghosts, there are still good-hearted people. Isn't it a little bad for him to frame others like this? Mumengi fell into deep thought. I feel a little confused. Then, Shen Jian said again, "But I can't help it. Since this wooden door is connected to you, then if I smash the wooden door, can't I save you?" Wooden door ghost. Hear this. Horror showed on his face. A mouthful of old blood almost spurted out. This wooden door is his true body. If he smashes the wooden door, wouldn't it cost him his life? Don't be like this, good brother, I appreciate your kindness, you'd better pull me out, I won't die. Mumengi said quickly. That won't work. I must put your safety first. Shen Jian grinned. He took out a 2-meter-long blood-stained steel rod from his body. On the front end of the steel rod, 37 dark red stars were twinkling. These stars are all gathered together by the resentment of the ghosts who died under the steel rod. With each additional star, the supernatural power wielded by the steel rod becomes stronger. The steel rod, where the 37 grievances of the evil spirits gathered, just took it out, and it carried an aura that made the evil spirits naturally afraid. Mumangi was completely dumbfounded. A grimace suddenly stiffened. Damn it! What the hell did you take out? Why do I seem to hear the miserable screams of a group of ghosts? Is this a ghost weapon that good people can possess? If this stick goes down, I won't be torn apart. The wooden door ghost became frightened. What a heartwarming scene. God is so kind. This is clearly an evil ghost. He is still the kind of evil ghost who does all kinds of evil. The wails of the fierce ghosts on that ghost weapon are irrefutable proof. Good brother, don't move. If it gets smashed later, I might take you away. Shenjian raised the steel rod, his face full of malice. Wooden door ghost. Don't come over here. Do not come near me. Before the other party's mental journey could be completed, Shenjian had already exerted force with his fingers. Then, slam the wooden door hard. Ah! The wooden door ghost immediately screamed. As the vermilion wooden doors on both sides shattered, the other party also fell into a panic. On the steel rod, the resentment of the 38 ghosts began to form a new dark red star on it. More sobs and wails sounded among them. Shenjian dragged the long steel rod and stepped into the house. Forecourt. A dead ghost hangs on a crooked tree. His body was pierced by a sharp branch, and above him, a human head hung. It seemed that he was trying to climb up the crooked neck tree to get the human head, but accidentally dropped it and was hit by the protruding sharp branch. Pierce the body. The dead man looked at Shenjian, who walked into the front yard with sadness. His eyes were turned outwards, his face was pale and his eyes were bleeding, and he looked extremely ferocious. He was about to speak. Shenjian had already walked over first and said with great enthusiasm, "Good brother, are you hanging on top and can't get down?" The excitement on Shenjian's face could not be concealed. The ghosts in the ghost town are of high quality. The previous Mumin ghost was a red-clothed level, but this Hangdei ghost was close to the top red-clothed level. Then when I walked to the front yard, I met 2 red-clothed level devils of such good quality. If you go shopping all over again, you will probably buy dozens of them. Thinking. Shenjian spoke again, "Don't worry, I'll help you right away." The dead man? Dumbfounded. He thought, it seems that he hasn't deceived people yet, right? Why did this brother get into the drama? Did you meet a kind-hearted person? Wrong. Who would be a well-intentioned person who would break into someone else's house without permission? This is an intruder. Think of this. The evil ghost was about to start bewitching, but the next moment, his outward-turned eyes suddenly stared. No. What about saving the ghosts you promised? What are you doing holding up a 2-meter-long stick? And the wailing sounds of the ghosts on the steel rod. You turned out to be an evil ghost. The dead man was about to pull his body out of the branch when he saw Shenjian grabbing the steel rod with one hand and swinging it out fiercely. Boom! The dead man fell down. I will never die with my eyes in peace. Shenjian skillfully stuffed the body into a sack. 39 dark red stars appeared on the steel rod. GGG, don't run. I saw you in the front yard. Children are playing with blood and mud. A real man should wave a stick to make the enemy surrender. Shenjian raised his stick and chased a little boy from the front yard to the atrium garden. The little boy shivered and hid among the flowers against the wall. From time to time, his pale eyes would look at the only doorway in the atrium. His face was filled with shock and anger. He was an outstanding figure among the red-clothed fierce ghosts, and he was actually being chased. If he said this, his wisdom would be ruined. But he didn't dare to go out and fight for his life. The ghost holding the steel rod outside is too fierce. Brutal to the extreme. He watched with his own eyes as his little friend was hit by a stick and flew dozens of meters away, falling to the ground and falling into a state of death. And his partner is also a red-clad fierce ghost. But he couldn't withstand a blow. He must hide and not be found by the evil spirit. Otherwise, his end will be tragic. Soon, the sound disappeared. Just when the little boy thought that the evil ghost had given up looking for him, a sinister laughter suddenly came from behind him. "I found you. Little boy." He shuddered. There is a wall behind him. Where does this evil ghost's voice come from? With his body trembling, the little boy turned around stiffly. Just in time to see Shenjian grinning, sticking his head out from the wall, looking at him with a strange smile on his face. Ghost realm? This evil spirit actually owns a ghost realm. The little boy was completely in despair. I was about to resist. A black steel rod had swept across. Little boy, died. The 45th dark red star emerged. Shenjian's expression became even more excited. In just a few minutes, 6 red-clothed level ghosts were acquired. No banknote printing factory would dare to print like this. Shenjian was already furious. He walked inch by inch from the front of the house, like a bully breaking into someone else's home. Everywhere he went, he kicked open the door and broke in. Then, the silent house received festive cheers for the first time. The screams kept coming one after another. "Ah! Don't come over here. No, don't, it hurts. Evil ghost, there is an evil ghost invasion."